Hi, everyone. Welcome and a very good Saturday morning to you all. Thank you for joining us today in this short session that we have for conversational basic Mandarin. We would like to explore a little on how we can pick up, some of the conversational tools we have in Mandarin so that it will help us speak with our peers and connect with others, right? So today we have with us Miss Laksha Mehta. She's also one of our Siki members who has volunteered to, take us through this. So Ms. Laksha is a very passionate educator. She has more than 15 years of teaching experience in both professional and degree programs. She has taught a wide range of programs from preparing students for chartered accounting to teaching adults language. So she has experience teaching working adults and professionals in spoken Mandarin at the beginner level, and she has formal training in learning Mandarin from the age of 5. And she has also taken part in a Mandarin speech contest for non-Chinese, where she has emerged even as a second runner-up. So Ms. Mehta has more than 20 years of experience working in management roles in both large corporations and in the education industry, ranging from assistant director in finance and to leading in a leading school as a head of academic, which is a training arm of National Accounting Body in Singapore. Ms. Mehta also has a master's degree in business administration, and she holds several professional qualifications, which include the Chartered Accountants of Singapore and FCCA. So without much ado, can I pass it on to Ms. Mehta for today's session, please?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gauri. First, a very good morning to all of you, all right, in this very bright Saturday morning. And let me start off by saying in Chinese, 你们大家早上好. 早上好, that means good morning, all right? Okay, thank you so much for taking this precious time to join me. And I'm going to do a sharing session. So this is a webinar. So I will be touching on the basic Mandarin for everyday conversation, all right? Okay, feel free, all right, to participate in your own domain because I will not be able to interact with you, but try to have fun, all right, learning the language. Okay, now I just want to share my simple experience learning Mandarin when I was at the age of 5. Well, learning Mandarin at the age of 5 was a very daunting task for me, right? And of course, I really have the passion and also the motivation. So learning any language, you need people around you to motivate you. And those days, I have my neighbors who are all Chinese. I have friends who are Chinese around the neighborhood. That's where it forced me to learn the language and to practice the language. Of course, learning any language, you need a lot of patience, all right? Patience is very important. And the 3 key words, practice, practice, practice. So it is very important that you need to practice the language. So it doesn't matter whether your pronunciation is off, but practicing the language will build up your confidence, and this will help you a lot, okay? And I trust that you might have questions that you want to ask, but do ask the questions till the end so that we can follow through the presentation. Okay, along the presentation, you will see that we will be taking polls. So this will help me to understand about the profile and the expectation of the participants. Okay, now, first of all, in this bright Saturday morning, I'm sure you have a lot of things that you want to do. Maybe I'd like to start off by asking the very first question is that how important for you to learn basic Mandarin for everyday conversation? So let's start. Okay, I understand that all of you mentioned that learning Mandarin is very important for your career and business. I fully agree with you. Okay, when I started off my very first corporate job, because I was in finance, and I have a lot of, our company is international. I have to deal with international region, especially people from China, Japan, Shanghai, in terms of the accounts. So learning the language really helped me because I was able to interact with them, and knowing the enunciation and pronunciation that helps me to relate to my counterpart from China, Shanghai, and many regions that use the language. So of course, for the purpose of this session, we are not going to stress on enunciation and pronunciation. That will require a lot of time. So learning a language is not about few hours thing, is about months and even years in order to master the language. All right, okay. Let me just share what we are going to cover today. Okay, now what we are going to learn today is that I'm going to do a little bit of sharing session to understand what is pinging. Okay, pinging is, and learning Chinese, learning the Chinese character will be a very tedious task to learn. So the easier task for a beginners to learn is to learn pinging. So I'm going to share about what is pinging, and I'm going to play a video whereby you will be able to better understand what is pinging. All right, so later I'm going to do that. Of course, I will be starting off with basic greetings. So when you see your friends, your clients, your counterparts, people will feel very good if you speak their language. Yes, of course, in Singapore, most of us, we can speak English, but it is always feel good when someone can speak your own mother tongue, all right, and your own language. So you feel very good, especially for multi-cultural country like Singapore, all right? So introduce yourself and others. So when you try to introduce yourself to others, that will help you to create rapport and a better understanding. And you will be able to build up your circle of friends. And who knows, I mean, sometimes your clients, I remember that when I was working as a head of academic in a leading institution, I deal with a lot of students from China and also professors from China. I think learning their language helped me to build the rapport, so I can relate to this. And also for today's session, I'll be sharing about how to say the months, the dates, and the years. So these are the very basic fundamental stuff that you'll be learning, and how to form sentence about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, most of us, when we try to meet up with our clients, our friends, it will be either during the breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So that's where we have the opportunity to create the rapport. Okay, understanding numbers is important, especially for me. I'm in the finance field. Numbers are the key, right? Okay, let me start off with what is pinging. So the basic things about pinging, I'm going to highlight few of the things. Okay, let me see here. Okay, pinging is a system. It's a system that represents the Chinese by using a Roman alphabet. And people can relate to it because it is in English. So especially when you're learning a language, you do not want to see a character that is not familiar to you. For instance, like my name, I do have a Chinese name. So this is my Chinese name. Lisa. So if you see a Chinese character, you find that it is very daunting. But if you see a English Roman alphabet, you will be able to feel ease. It will be easier to learn. All right. So that's the reason why beginners, they will start off learning pinging. But learning pinging will take time. It will take about few sessions. It's not an hour. It's about few sessions for you to master the pinging. All right. So there are it's simply like a phonetic, all right, system in Chinese. All right. And learning pinging will help to build your foundation. especially you want to sharpen in terms of your pronunciation and your enunciation, right? Okay, so as I've already mentioned, it's a phonetic system in Chinese language. Okay, now I want to share this with you. Okay, read and write. Okay, most of us nowadays with sophisticated tools, there is no need to read and write because you can actually do a translation by using any software or system, right? And reading it, you will be able to have characters that you can translate, and you can use the system that help you to read. But if you are able to converse, conversation is the key. Why is that so? Because as business actually grows, as business flourish, and you deal with people from all over the region, people from China, if you are able to converse the language, it will be much easier to build rapport. Okay, in my course of work, I have interacted with a lot of people from China, and what I realized is that when you are able to speak their language, they feel at ease, they feel more open to discuss with you more, they're open to share with you more, and they feel that you are they feel rather ease. So it is an easy and a popular way to learn Chinese, all right? So later you will learn about what is the difference between Chinese and Mandarin. In actual fact, Chinese and Mandarin is being used rather interchangeably, all right? So later I'm going to play a video that will help you to understand. And of course, learning pinyin is a tool normally used by beginners. Okay, I remember when I taught professionals learning Chinese, learning the pinyin, I started off sharing with them honey pinyin, and you will learn about what is the meaning of Han. Learning any language is good to know a little bit about the background. Culture will be definitely is something which will help you to enhance in your learning. But knowing about what pinyin is, what is Han language, it will help you to appreciate. So you know what is the purpose of learning those language. All right. Okay, now I'm going to play a video. So relax and stay tuned. All right.
What is the Chinese language? As we know, China has 56 ethnic groups, and more than 90% of the population are the Han people. The rest are 55 ethnic minorities like the Tibetan, the Uyghur, and the Mongol, etc. Most of them have their own languages, and the language of the majority Han is Chinese language. The second question is, do different regions of the Han people speak the same Chinese? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Chinese language in different regions has differences more or less in pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar, especially in pronunciation. So there are many dialects in Chinese language. For example, the word hello in Beijing dialect is 你好. In Shanghai dialect is 农婆. In Guangdong dialect, is also called Cantonese, is 雷侯. It's obvious that it would be very hard or impossible to communicate with each other, the Chinese people, if they just speak their own dialects or languages. Therefore, a national standard Chinese language is needed, which is Mandarin. is called 普通话 in Chinese, the official language of China. So Mandarin is what you are exactly going to learn. And Mandarin is often called simply Chinese. So when you say, I am learning Chinese, in most cases, we know you are learning Mandarin. The third question is, what are the Chinese character and the Chinese pinyin? The Chinese character is the writing system to record Chinese. The Chinese pinyin is the phonetic system to record the pronunciation of Chinese. If you want to read Chinese books, newspapers, and magazines, or browse Chinese websites, then you have to know characters. What you see from the screen now are two Chinese characters, which means hello, but the characters cannot tell you how to pronounce them. So if you want to read out the two characters, you have to know the pinyin of them. 你好. Mastering Chinese pinyin is extremely important for your future learning, especially for the listening and speaking. So we strongly suggest you put in enough effort and time to learn to practice Chinese pinyin when you start to learn Chinese. And this is why we'll give you a detailed introduction.
Okay, I hope that you find the video helpful for you to understand what is Hanyu Pinyin, and I'm going to share more with you, right? Let me just get this. Okay, now from the video, you have heard about in China, there are about 56 distinct ethnic groups, and 92% of the total population in China, they are the Han Chinese. And the Han Chinese, in order to standardize, they came up with Hanyu Pinyin. And Hanyu Pinyin actually was created in 1950. So the purpose of creating this in order to standardize the language and the pronunciation, so to allow communication, to ease in communication, especially China is a very large country, right? Okay, so now moving on. Okay, how does pinyin work? So for the purpose of this webinar, I'm just going to share about just the structure, but not going into in depth in pinyin, right? So there will be initials, finals, and tone. So later I'm going to give an example of this. The tone is the part whereby most students find it very difficult, especially because of our accent. So you notice that different people, when they start to learn language and try to speak a second language, the enunciation and the pronunciation can be slightly different. So in order to master this, you really need to work on the tone. You need to sharpen it. And the way to sharpen it is to speak more to your friends. Doesn't matter if your tone is not right. So that's where you can learn. And also the best and a very fun way of learning any language is to listen to music. So music is something that helps you to enjoy, and learning anything as an educator myself, I find that you need to have a fun way of learning. If you learn in a very stressful way, you find that it's very difficult for you to digest, and you find that learning is tough. So I always feel learning is a journey, right? So you always try to learn as you move along, and you need to learn in your comfort zone, all right? Of course, you can move out from your comfort zone and try to use the language effectively with the native speakers. So that's where you will be able to learn. So sometimes when you speak to the native speakers, they might correct you in terms of your pronunciation. That's fine, all right? Okay, I remember along the way in my journey of learning the language, I have many mentors, and I treat them like mentors because they help me to understand and correct me, and that's helped me to sharpen my pronunciation. They even motivated me and in terms of taking part in contests. And I remembered that when I was in my first corporate job, international company, I was in shipping company, and we normally have competition amongst companies like different corporate companies. So my colleague actually submitted my name for the competition without me knowing. And they told me that you can do it, just take part in the speech contest. Initially, I was very worried, but I think with the motivation and the support from my colleagues, from my friends, I took part in the contest, and not knowingly, I emerged at the second runner. And it really helped me in my career because this competition was rather in a rather big scale, and I appeared in the press. So that's where people get to know me, and I make more friends. All right. So I always feel learning, you need to enjoy. All right. Don't stress yourself. Okay. Now, learning pinyin, 我. Okay. If you are trying to pronounce together with me, this is 我. 我 in character is being written in this manner. 我 that means I. 我是谁? So 我是 Laksha. So 我. Okay, 我 can you see in pinyin? W is an initial. O is the final. And the tone. So this particular thing is the tone. Okay. The tone mark is the part whereby students find it very challenging to learn. Learning how to pronounce it. If you are able to master the Hani Pinyin, the only part that you need to work on will be the tone, the pronunciation. So this is the summarize of what I've shared. And also you have seen the video about why learning Mandarin or learning Chinese is very important. Imagine you are able to communicate with so many people from China. And also in Singapore, you are able to communicate with people. I remember when I was coaching a professional, she was doing a voluntary work, and she dealt with a lot of elderly Chinese who will not be able to speak English. And she wants to build a rapport with them. And now she is able to learn the basic conversation, and she's able to bring the smile to this elderly. She came back to share this with me, and I'm very happy for her because she's able to build up her voluntary work and bring smile to people, right? Okay, now moving on. Okay, how does the four tones work? So this is called the flat tone. This will be is the rising tone. This will be a falling rising tone. And this is a falling tone. So these are called pinyin tones. Okay, how does it work? Ma, ma, that means mother. Ma, ma. Your tone is going up. That is a fiber. It means fiber. Ma, ma, it means horse. Ma, ma, that means is to school. So the tone is falling down. So sometimes when you use the wrong tone, people may misunderstand you, all right? But it's okay. I mean, that's always part of learning any language. So that's where you learn from try and error sometimes, all right? Okay, so it is good for you to have a background of understanding that learning Hani Pinyin or Pinyin in short, there are 4 tones, right? Okay, after going on to the honey pinging, what is honey pinging is about? So we're going to start with our basic greetings, right? So how do you do that? Okay, when you meet someone early in the morning, how would you say? Normally we would say good morning. So in Chinese, this is a Chinese character. This is honey pinging. You will say 早上好,早上好. Okay, if you are saying together with me, can you please try 早上好? So you can see the how, you are stretching it, all right? Okay, because the tone is going down and it's going up. Okay, for beginners, sometimes they say 早上好,早上好, and you will see that the pronunciation may not be accurate, but people will still be able to understand. So this requires a lot of practice, all right? So good morning is 早上好. Okay, let me say this 5 times. 早上好,早上好,早上好,早上好,早上好. Okay, learning any language, you need to build up that repetition, all right? So that will help you to pronounce it in a very comfortable way. Okay, now good afternoon. How would you pronounce it and how would you say it? 下午好,下午好. Okay, 下午好. You can see the how is the same. Let me just highlight that. The how is the same, it's the same, and the same. Okay, it's just this part is different. That is 下午好. Okay, so let me just say it 5 times. 下午好,下午好,下午好,下午好,下午好. Okay, now good evening. Good evening is 晚上好,晚上好,晚上好. Okay, I can see, even I can't see you, I can feel that you are trying to pronounce together with me. 晚上好,晚上好. So that is good evening. How about good night? Actually, these two are the same, right? But in Chinese, we will say in different way, similarly for English. 晚安,晚安,晚安,晚安,晚安. Okay, so these are the common greetings that you can use immediately for your friends as well as your clients. Because early in the morning, everybody will be very happy. It will build up the mood, all right, and the persona of a person by greeting the person in a very happy tone, like good morning, 早上好. Okay, in the afternoon when you're going for your lunch, 下午好. In the evening when you're saying goodbye, 晚上好. Okay, so hope that these greetings can help you. Okay, and what is another way? I have students as well as professionals ask me, how do I learn the language? Because if I try to pronounce it myself, I do not know whether I'm accurate. And quite surprisingly that when I was teaching one student, a very young student from New Zealand, she was very keen to learn Mandarin. And she struggled to learn the language. So I was trying to find a way to make her feel comfortable and ease. So I tried to introduce music and songs. Okay, it is a very fun way of learning. And I will be playing this video. Trust me, I think you will really enjoy it. All right. Okay. After all, learning a language need to learn in a fun way. Right? So let me just share this video. Okay, I hope you enjoy this. Definitely my that student enjoy it very much, and she shared with me that she has made a lot of friends by learning this song, and she taught these songs to her friends as well, and she make a lot of friends. Okay, on this note, we want to have another poll. Try to see that learning Mandarin, will it increase your circle of friends and clients? Okay, great. Okay, all of you say that learning Mandarin can help you to uh, increase your circle of friends and clients. So now what is the next step? How would you introduce yourself to others, right? So let's see how we can do that. Okay, so you can see that these are the pinyin. So these are the pinyin words, and this is the English word, so that you will be able to understand. Okay, what is your name? 你叫什么名字? As you can hear from the video, right? The song, right? 你叫什么名字?你叫什么名字? Right? What is your name? Right? So 你叫什么名字? I will repeat 3 times. Okay. Now, when you respond, you need to respond with your name. My name is Sean. 我叫 Sean. 我叫 Sean. 我叫 Sean. Okay. So by just saying these two, you will be able to build the rapport with your friends. All right. Okay, so you'll be able to connect, so they will be like interested to know more. Where do you live? 你住在哪里? 你住在哪里? So for the purpose of this webinar, I've removed all the tone so that it don't look very daunting, all right? 你住在哪里? Where do you live? Okay, so now I live in Singapore. 我住在新加坡。我住在新加坡。我住在新加坡。I live in Singapore. Now, the next question. I live in Singapore. How about you? 我住在新加坡。你呢? So you're asking a question. 我住在新加坡。你呢? 我住在新加坡。你呢? I can see that you're trying to say it after me, that's good, all right? So learning language, you need to practice it, all right? So the more you practice, you feel very comfortable. So once you're comfortable with some of the fixed sentence, of course, you can start off by saying 早上好,下午好, because you're not using a complete sentence. After you're comfortable with that, then you can start using a complete sentence. Of course, I'm not going in depth with grammar and whatnot. So just in a simplistic way, it's good to learn how to say in a grammatically correct way, right? Okay, so this is how you introduce yourself. Okay, now moving on. So how would you introduce others? Let's say you're going for a meeting, okay, and you want to introduce your colleague or your friends. How would you do that? Who is she? 她是谁？她是谁？她是谁？ Who is she? 她是我的朋友。她是我的朋友。她是我的朋友。She is my friend. So the response will come. I know her. 我认识她。我认识她。我认识她。I know her. Okay, moving on. She is my neighbor. 她是我的邻居。她是我的邻居。她是我的邻居。她是我的邻居。So she's my neighbor. And we try to add on by saying, I like her. 我喜欢她。我 that means I. Okay, so what you can learn is that 我 that means I. 我 that means I. 我喜欢她 so that is 我. Okay, 她 that means she. You can use it for she, so that is 她. 她. Okay, that's where you learn the language. Learning language is like a building block. So once you learn the basic fundamental, so you build up the block to form sentences. So first you learn the word, then you learn the sentences, and then you go into a longer sentence, then paragraphs. All right. So learning language is like a building block. Okay. Now moving on. Months, date, and year. How do you do that? Okay. So January, February, March. How would you say it? So let me first explain here. So in Chinese, month is called 月, 月, 月. And you can see there is 月 throughout from January to December. And all these numbers that is beside the 月, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Chinese. All right. So January is 一月. Okay, I will pronounce it twice. All right. 一月, 一月. So 一 that means 1. February is 二月, 二月, 二 that means 2. March, 三月, 三月, 三 that means 3. April is 四月, 四月, 四 that means 4. May is 五月, 五月, 五 that means 5. June is 六月, 六月, 六 that means 6. July will be 七月, 七月, 七 that means 7. August will be 八月, 八月, 八 that means is 8. September is 9月 9月 9 that means 9. October is 10月 10月 10 that means is 10. November is 11 11 that means 11 11月 11月. December is 12 12 that means 12 12月. So if you can master the numbers, you just need to learn 月 and you will be able to pronounce the month easily, right? So that's another techniques that you can learn in learning months. Okay, now moving on. So this is days. Days in Chinese is called 星期 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 Monday. So you can say 星期 all the way. So once you learn 星期 星期 that means it's days. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 will be numbers. So these are numbers. Let me just highlight. So these are all numbers. The only one that is different is Sunday. We call it 天, right? Okay, so this is 星期一 星期一 Tuesday will be 星期二 星期二 so this is 2. Wednesday is 星期三 星期三 3 that means 3. 星期四 星期四 4 that means 4. Okay, Friday will be 星期五星期五 5 that means 5. Saturday is 星期六星期六 6 that means 6. So except for Sunday, all right, this is not 7. Huh? So this is 星期天星期天. So this is the only one that is exceptional. So if you are learning the numbers, you know how the numbers are, how to pronounce the numbers, it will be easy for you to learn the days because you just need to learn 星期. All right? Okay. Trust that this is an easy techniques for you to learn. Okay, now important words in pinyin, this is just to summarize. Month is 月 月 年 年 that means is year. 年 新年 that means Chinese New Year. Week is 星期星期. Day is 天 今天天. All right, so that is day. Okay, let me move on to a little bit of advance. So the purpose of this webinar is just to do the sharing. Of course, to learn this, you need time. Okay, such a session for basic session can last for about 6 weeks. Okay, just to learn what I'm sharing today, because you need to have a lot of interaction. So for this webinar, it's more on the sharing. It's not for interaction purpose. Okay, last year is 去年 年 is year. 去年 last year. This year is 今年 今年. Next year is 明年 明年. So the day is yesterday is 昨天 昨天. Can you see 天 is the day? So yesterday is 昨天. Today is 今天 今天 is today. Tomorrow will be 明天明天. Okay, now let me move on to the month. Last month, 上个月 月 you have learned 月. So you need to learn 上个月 上个月. I do see people try to mix English and Chinese. That is fine, all right? Okay, nowadays a lot of people like to mix languages. Okay, that's fine. But if you are speaking to someone which is a native, they will be more appreciate that if you can use just the pure language, all right, rather than mixing 2 languages. But in Singapore, it's fine, all right? This month is 这个月 这个月. Next month is 下个月，下个月。Okay, now coming to week we have learned is 星期. So last week, can you see 上个月，上个月. So here is 这个月. Okay, let me just, okay, where is the thing here? Let me just remove one. Okay, now 这个月, so that is this week. So next week is 下个星期, 下个星期. So you can see that there is a consistent and systematic way of learning. So once you have learned like 年, then you can learn about last year, so this year and next year, and so forth. All right. Okay, now I'd like to share the next part, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So breakfast, we can say 早餐 is breakfast. Okay, in Singapore, people like to say breakfast. Okay, they don't say 早餐, all right? But if you are speaking to someone who is not very conversant in English, they prefer to use the language. Okay, lunch is 午餐, right? Dinner is 晚餐. Can you see the last word is the same? So if you can learn the last word, you just need to learn the numbers, that means the words that will relate to breakfast, that will relate to lunch, that will relate to dinner. All right, so that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, how would you form the sentence? Have you taken your breakfast? 你吃早餐了没有？你吃早餐了没有？ Or you can say 你吃了早餐了吗？ So there is many ways of saying. Ma is a form of a question, right? Have you taken your lunch? 你吃午饭了吗？你吃了午饭了吗？ You also can say 你吃了午饭了没有？ So there's many way of using the same sentences. Okay, now the last one. Have you taken your dinner? 你吃晚饭了吗？你吃了晚饭了吗？ You also can say 你吃了晚饭了没有？ Okay, have you taken your dinner? So that's the way to use a sentence for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, now I'm moving on to numbers. So numbers, it is very important. As you can see that it forms the foundation of learning the day, the month, and in fact the weeks as well. So numbers, 0 is 零. Okay, let me just say out all the numbers at one go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 0, that means 0. 1, that means 1. 2, that means 2. 3, that means 3. 4, that means 4. 5, that means 5. 6, that means 6. 7, that means 7. 8, that means 8. 9, that means 9. 10, that means 10. Right? So that is 0 to 10. Okay, now how would you, after you're comfortable with 0 to 10, you can increase your level of difficulty by learning the multiple of 10. So that is 10. 10 throughout will be the same except for 100. 10 and 2 is you have learned 20. Of course, 10 you don't say 10, all right, it's 10. 20 is 20. 30 will be 30. 40 is 40. 50 is 50. Right? 60 is 60. 70 is 70. 80 is 80, 90 is 90, 100 is 100, 100, that means 100. So if you are learning in a very systematic way, that means that the multiple of 10, I just learned 10. It will be consistent for 10 to 90. So the 100 will be different. So this is how you can learn it in a simplistic way. Okay, now let me move on to the next bit. And this will be my final slides before I go on to the last video, all right? Okay, now 11, 19, how would you say? 11, 11, that means 1. 10, that means 10. So it's a multiple of 10. 11, 19 will be 19, 9, that means 9. So 10, that means multiple of 10. 22, 22, 2, that means 2. 10, that means a multiple of 20, all right? So it's from the 20 region. That's why this 2 is the same. 22, this is 2. 28, 8, that means 8. 20, 20. Okay, now coming to 33 and 37, I just have chosen at a random, just to demonstrate. 33, 33, 37, 37, 30 is a multiple of 3, and sun is 3, qi is 7. Okay, now moving on. 44, 44, 40, that means it's a multiple of 40. Okay, it's 4, multiple of 40. So this is how you say 4, that means it's 4. 46, 46, so 6 is 6. 55 is 55, 55. Okay, so it is multiple of 50, right? So 5, that means 5. How about 66 and 64? 60, 60, and this is 6, and this is 4. 66, 64. So this is how you learn it. Now 77 and 73. 47, 40, sorry, this is 77, 77, 70, that means it is 70, and qi, that means it's 7, sun is 3. 77, 73. Okay, now moving on to the next one. 80, 80 is 80, and this is 8, that means 8. 88, 80 is 80, and this is 2, 82. Okay, now 90, 90 is 90, and 9 is 9, 99. Okay, 91 is 91, 90 is 90, E is 1, 91. 100 is 100, 100. So this is how you can learn the Chinese numbers, all right? Okay, so far what I've covered, let me summarize before I play the last video. Okay, what I've shared with you is the understanding of honey pinyin, why learning honey pinyin is important. And number 2 is how would you use the basic greetings? You need not have to form sentence. You can say 早上好 or 晚上好. You can just use the simple words. Then you're more confident. That's where you can introduce yourself and introduce others. Okay, moving on, you have learned about months, dates, and year. So that's where you know that the numbers, learning numbers, can help you to learn the months, the dates, and the year. Okay, last but not least is the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner. So all these simplistic words can help to build rapport and really can help you to make friends, all right? Okay, now moving on to the Okay, the last slides, you want to see the last slide. So this is the last slides. Okay. Okay, now the last slides, as I mentioned, learning the words like in the multiple of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So you will be able to use the numbers, and numbers are very important. All right. Okay, before I show you the last slides, I like to do the last poll is, are you interested in learning Mandarin? Right? Are you very keen in learning Mandarin? We are exploring the idea with SICCI to come up with a structured learning. All right. So let's look at the poll. Okay, Gauri, are you showing the poll? So we will be exploring the idea of learning Mandarin. It will be in a very structured way. Okay, so that's the poll here. Okay, great. So all of you express interest. Okay, we will definitely will be come up with something very soon for all the members. All right. And of course, if you're very keen to contact me, so this is my contact. So you are able to reach me via this contact. All right. Okay, now I'd like to end the session by playing the last video and showing you how conversation can be done. Right?
早上好，早上好，早上好，
Good evening.
晚上好，晚上好，晚上好，
How are you?
你好吗？你好吗？你好吗？
It's fine today.
今天天气真好。今天天气真好。今天天气真好。
It's very cold today.
今天非常冷。今天非常冷。 今
Okay.
天非常冷。
Okay, I'm just
I
sharing.
haven't seen you for a long time.
Okay, I'm just sharing
好久
just
不
a
见
snippet,
了。
just a snippet of this. I'm not going to play the full video. So just want to share that you can extend after you have learned the Mandarin. I mean, you have learned the Chinese. You will be able to extend and form more complicated sentences. Okay, now is a Q&A. So you'll be able to ask questions. Okay, feel free to ask. Do you have any questions that you want to ask me? I trust that in this 1 hour, of course, 1 hour you can't learn and master the language. It can be very heavy, I'm sure you will be able to take away a couple of words that you can use it immediately. So Hans, it means it is a native people. They are Han Chinese in China. And as I shared, it's about 92% of the people in China are Han Chinese, right? Okay, as you can see, even in Singapore, for people, not everybody speak Mandarin, they will speak dialects. So similarly in China, they will have people from different dialects groups, but you have people who are in the continent, 92%, they are the Han Chinese, they are the native, and that's where honey pinyin is being formed, right? Okay, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, is there any further questions? Okay, so if there is no further questions, I understand that most of you are very keen. Gauri will be coming back with this a more structured sessions. That's where we can share with the members. And of course, it needs to be interactive, all right? So that interactive sessions will really help you, all right? Okay, thank you so much for being a very good audience. I trust that in this very beautiful Saturday, it's still morning, all right? You have learned something new, and this could be your New Year resolution, I suppose. Please make more friends, make more clients, and bring joy to the others, all right? Okay, thank you so much, all right? Thank you, and hope to see you in my class, all right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Laksha, and thank you everyone who have joined us today. Hope you had a good session. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.